meditation and she was in these deep meditative states, Creator spoke to her, and Creator told her what she needed to do to heal others, and she wrote it all down. And that's what theta healing is based upon. And it's amazing. And as long as somebody has a deep belief in a higher power, and it doesn't matter the name. Names don't matter.
No, names don't matter on that particular level.
Spirituality, whoever you name as the higher power, as long as you have that belief, that Creator, that ultimate being, has the power through us to heal ourselves and to heal others.
Yep. Interesting.
Immediately, instantly.
It's just a matter of belief, believing that you are part of something bigger.
Yes.
And that's all it is. And using the power of that something bigger to work through you to allow the healing to begin for yourself first and foremost, and then for others.
Yeah.
And, so many philosophers have said that forever.
Well, you can't truly love others without loving yourself.
Right.
And we all have that source energy in us, and many philosophers
talk about that. We are made
from
that source
Absolutely.
energy. We are that source energy.
We have to learn how to quickly tap into it. That's the key.
Right.
You can, all these, what am I trying to say? Like Buddhists, and where they pray and they get into that deep, deep meditative state. Sometimes that takes a while. Sometimes they have to fast. Sometimes they have to. Well, Viana has created this quick way to travel to the seventh plane and get into this deep meditative state. And theta is the state for people who want something to, correlate it with. It's kind of like that dream state before you're fully asleep, where you're sort of half in and half out. That is theta. That is what is called theta. It is.
All things are possible.
That's where all things are possible. All healing can be instant. Everything is possible.
I'm going to have to read this.
You can even change your DNA. You can change mutations.
Just now and think how many years people have known that, but not Western.
Right. Eastern medicine
have known that you can change your DNA.
Now, think about that.
That is intense.
Think about that for a minute.
So if you're genetically predisposed to a disease, you can alter that.
You can alter it through the energy.
Yes, but you need to know how to get there, and you need to understand how to do it. But it is absolutely possible to change your genetic makeup. In fact, in respect to certain predispositions to diseases
And think about the implications of that on humanity. If we could all learn how to tap into that source energy and download from Creator the ability to heal ourselves and to heal others around us, think of the implications on humanity. I mean, disease would be gone, longer lifespan.
Longer, healthier.
Absolutely.
Happier.
Youth and vitality.
Yes.
And in fact, the Theta Healing speaks about that, and the fact is this is just a lost knowledge. This is prehistoric knowledge for us, and it was lost through evolution, through time.
Although recently, and I say recently, meaning within the last 25 years, scientists have discovered, mapping of the DNA, the telomeres, which are the little end caps on the end of DNA, which keep it from unraveling. You can liken those to the little caps on the ends of your shoelaces.
Right.
So when those wear off and they start to wear off, that's when we age. That's when DNA starts to unravel and we start to age. So scientists have been working on how to keep those telomeres in place, how to keep them capped on tight so that our DNA doesn't unravel, so we could end up living to, 200, 400, 600 years of age without aging. Now, I don't want to be 600 years of age
and
if
look
I
like
look 600
mummy.
Years of age.
Right.
I don't want to be a mummy, but if I can...
What we want to make our age, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to be able to...
Yeah, because that's when you would cap it off.
Yeah.
You'd cap it off. I would have capped it off, 25 years ago? I'm just kidding. I'm okay at 47.
I would have capped it off 50 years ago.
I don't know. I'm pretty good now. I'm growing right now, and I like that.
Well, you would still grow.
Well, yeah,
spiritually.
mentally and
I'm
spiritually.
sorry,
right.
I'd look like the Crypt Keeper. I'm just going to keep going, baby. That's
Patrick wants to shrivel up. He had this plan. He says, "I'm going to grow old ungracefully. I really want to get all sucked up like a raisin and just be all like really old and sad looking, because then when I pinch the girls' butts, they'll feel sorry for me and they'll let me get away with it." And I'm like, "Holy crap, you have this planned out already?"
They'll say, "What a sweet old
That's
man."
a lofty goal.
That's lofty.
That's his
How you
plan.
doing, ladies?
Look at that sweet old crypt keeper.
Patrick, you got a ways to go for this. Don't you?
I'm working on it.
Oh, Patrick. That's funny. So,
So the theta healing, it's amazing. There's different types. I mean, there are people around this area that do this stuff, and then there are esoteric healers. Esoteric is another way. It's like surgery. It's like they can go in and perform surgery
and that was
energetically.
big in the Philippines. I mean, that was done in the Philippines. Oh,
Years ago.
man.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yes.
Yes.
Like in the early 60s.
Yes.
Right.
And there's still only like 3,000 practitioners in the whole of the, world. That's ridiculous. There's more practitioners of theta. Theta healing, there's like 300,000, but that's because this woman has really made it her life's goal to teach as many people that are willing to learn, because she says everybody can do it.
Everybody can do
Everybody
it if
can
you
do it.
understand the premises of what it is built upon. And that is, we are all of one, to be one.
And that's a hard concept for a lot of people to grasp.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. It's hard for people to understand that no matter how far apart psychologically we are absolutely connected, and there is nothing either of us can do to
About it.
disconnect ourselves, because we are but energy. We neither live nor die. We just are.
Yeah, we just are. And we're
We
all
just
And that's
are.
true with everything, with every mineral.
Everything.
With everything
Everything.
animal.
Touch, see, taste, imagine. It is all of one.
Mm-hmm.
It is all of one.
And that's where we're moving towards. And
Right.
that brings me up to the next thing we were talking about, which is the eclipse.
Right.
The eclipse, there was a shift. Deb and I felt it.
Yes.
Patrick felt it.
God,
I
felt it.
Patrick lived
feel
it.
so
I
much
lived it.
better now that eclipse is over.
Oh,
That
my
sounds so weird,
goodness.
doesn't it?
I am so much happier now that eclipse is over. That closed a portal. If you look up into astrology and all of that, that closed a portal. But spiritually, there was a huge, huge shift in the world. And it was of a positive nature, although it sucked.
I fought.
It was terrible.
I fought the cocoon.
I think that we probably went through a lot more growing than we ever did in that one couple of seconds.
Yes.
That was painful to us.
Terribly
No,
painful.
there was a
Something we
buildup.
had to do.
Yeah,
There-
and
there
it's
was
been
an
going
abs-
since
yeah,
February. I
yeah.
mean, everybody knows. I mean, the eclipse season started in February, and since February, the world has been on its rocker.
Really, rampages of all sorts.
Craziness.
And so,
I said on its rocker instead of off its rocker, but I meant off its rocker.
now it's on its
We
rocker.
knew what you
Now
meant.
it's on its rocker, and
Yeah.
it's so much better. Like, there has been a serious positivity shift. And I think we're shifting towards oneness. I think we're shifting towards wholeness.
But although on the surface it does not seem
No,
like it.
no, but
there's an underlying current
yeah,
of
we
the
see a
energy.
lot of things going on within the whole of not only the Earth, but the entirety of our universe.
But it
We-
has to go
we
through
see it.
there to get to the
And the
Absolutely.
individual.
You can't unlock the door without putting the key in the keyhole.
Right.
You know.
right. You know, we have book club here, and last night we read. We're reading a book by Dr. Wayne Dyer called
It's over there.
I Can See Clearly Now. It's also over there. And when we first started reading this book, I wasn't sure I was going to like it because it talks about a part of his past life,
Mm-hmm.
when he was young. And then he says the lesson that he learned from it and how it made him the person that he is. And last night we read about the day that President Kennedy got killed. And he changed if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yes.
That's one of his quotes. And he changed my whole attitude toward that. He said, President Kennedy could not have made the difference that he made in racial equality in his lifetime without dying.
Well, there's a purpose for everyone's life, and there's a purpose for everyone's death.
Well, he did become legendary.
That's
Right,
right.
and he
Legendary.
made such huge strides. After he passed, there were such huge strides made, and even that
Even today.
right,
Even today.
and the whole thing, the Cold War with Russia and that thing
Yes,
with Cuba,
yes.
and all of those things, he probably could not have
laid
made
the
that big
blueprint.
of a difference alive,
Right.
but because he became such a legend.
An absolute legend in anybody's
And he
mind.
wouldn't have if he had not been killed during his presidency.
Exactly.
So
I mean,
these things were meant to happen. They
Ju-
were prior written.
just as Nelson Mandela's story
Right,
would not
right.
have meant as
Without
much
prison, right.
without
Without the suffering.
Mother
Teresa.
Teresa's story.
The lessons.
Nothing.
The stories.
There is a purpose, even in the suffering. There is a purpose.
There's always a purpose in the suffering. That's what gets me through a lot of my suffering because, it's painful, but then I
You
learn.
give purpose to your pain.
It does, and I learn, and then I appreciate the good things and the good times, and I say, well, I'm glad I'm not there, but you know what? When I was there, this is what I learned. Because I always learn from a bad situation.
and you can help someone else that's going through that. That's
Sometimes that person's going through a lot worse than you are, and just simply
Right.
stepping up and saying, hey, yeah, I've got a crappy life, but I see I can help you, even though
Right.
I've got a crappy life.
And that's the connection.
That's
That's
the
what we're
that's the
supposed
pick
to
you up.
do.
That's the pick
We're
you up.
supposed to help our fellow man, our humanity.
although Abraham Hicks would disagree with that.
Well, in a way, but then also remember, she says vibrationally, what you put out there is what you're going to get back. So what you draw into you is what you put out. So if that's true, then when you draw in the bad, then you're actually not only helping the other person, but you're helping yourself as well. You're helping both.
Right. But she says that you are not here to help the planet or others.
Wrong. Life without
Well,
sacrifice.
He
But
disagrees.
she-
he
she-
disagrees.
Yeah, I
But
do.
she makes it the way that it is said is in such a way that you work on yourself first.
Oh, yeah. I
And-
agree
and
with
then
that
other
100%.
people will come
absolutely,
up to
absolutely.
your
yes.
level.
Right.
Yes.
So
yes.
you
yes.
are helping others
You're not
by raising your
responsible.
vibration, but you're
Yes.
not.
And that's what I mean by that.
However,
Right.
you're not.
Then I agree with you 100%.
You should not isolate yourself, even when you're helping yourself, to become more enlightened, more spiritual, more God, whatever it is. You should not isolate yourself because there are lessons to be learned
Oh,
in the
yeah.
interaction of others. Quite frankly,
She calls it the contrast.
Right.
You have to have the contrast.
Right.
I'll tell you, because I truly believe, prior to even the Theta healing, I truly believe we are all one.
Right.
So that particular theory, I have problem with because that individualizes you
Well,
and takes you away
what
Not
from
she
really,
says
because
is-
if you raise your vibration, others being around others.
But
that-
I think what the point she makes is that you're not responsible for other people.
right.
No,
You're
not.
only
You're not.
responsible
You're
for
not.
yourself.
You're not. Your
Right.
contract is with yourself.
And even though you're only responsible for yourself and not the other person, your vibration can help that other person
Right.
get better at being them.
Right.
Yeah, and
I agree with that.
No, I agree with that because, and that's part of the whole we feed off of one another.
Right.
Our energies and our vibrations and things, we feed off of one another. So if we're in a vibrational state of help and healing, that person's going to gather that from you.
And a perfect example of that, and that's exactly right. If you are in buying a pair of shoes, and that person that's helping you pick out those shoes or has to go back